finally cure imposter syndrome. So what is imposter syndrome, first and foremost, so that you know whether or not this is a productive thing for you to pay attention to? A lot of times when people are in the process of trying to work with someone new, build something they haven't built before, they get an offer or an opportunity, then they're going to say things like, "Oh my gosh, I just got lucky that I was up until this point. People are going to find out. They're going to expose. I'm going to get exposed. People are going to know I don't know what I'm doing. I got lucky the first time. I got lucky the fourth, fifth time." And bottom line is it holds a lot of people back. So if you feel that like I'm not good enough to ... that's probably going to fall within this general category of imposter syndrome. And that falls within a general category called mindset. And while so many of us think that all we need to do is a step-by-step process around how to get to where we want to go, having done this for many, many years, I can tell you, and I know this for sure for myself, it's usually all mindset. And if you could start to work on your mindset and start to get tools to solve it and to create different strategies and different mental programs, you're going to find yourself being very, very successful at getting what you want. So with that regard, we're going to specifically focus on imposter syndrome. There are all kinds of other problems that people have: fear of success, fear of failure, whatever you want to call it. But today we're going to talk about imposter syndrome. So again, if you feel like, oh my gosh, if they only knew, and again, the reason why I can talk about this is I've dealt with this for an extended period of time, and to a large extent, I still do. You'd be like, well, why are you teaching it? That's exactly the point. Just because you know how to deal with it doesn't mean it's not there, right? And the more that you can figure out what it is and how it works, the easier it is to stop it from holding you back. So I'm going to walk you through a very simple process. It's actually a 3-step process that's broken down into smaller parts that I've seen has been the most effective for curing imposter syndrome for me, for lots of my clients. Okay, so the first component of how do you deal with imposter syndrome is something I call NCNC. So you're like, what does that mean? So it stands for things: name it, counter it, normalize it, create. Name it, counter it, normalize it, create. Okay, so let's go through each step. Number 1, name it. So now this is a whole concept around why in a lot of ways talk therapy has become as popular and as effective as it is today. When you take an idea, and this is actually a deeply spiritual concept, and you move it from idea to word, right? It's actually cool in my spiritual practice, like the mouth and the neck are like very holy parts of the body, right? Because you're taking a concept and you're actually concretizing it into reality, right? So how you say things, it's interesting. It actually creates an outcome. So if I have all of these crippling thoughts, but I'm able to actually talk them out by me having to form words and sentences around what's going on, I actually can start to make it into a really big thing, into a small thing. And I can start the process of normalizing it and naming it. And if you can name something, it actually takes away a tremendous amount of power, or it lets your brain categorize under which this falls. Does that make sense? So it's super cool. Like I could be feeling this overwhelming sense, this feeling, but if I could just say I'm feeling scared, so I just took all of these feelings and all the things that's going on, and now I've been able to move it into one kind of thing. So it starts to feel manageable. So if you can say, oh man, I have so much imposter syndrome right now. I feel like such a fraud. I feel like I'm not worthy of this position. As soon as you move from feeling to talking, it already starts to lose its power, and it actually moves it outside of you. Does that make sense? So it's not like it's your identity. It's an experience that you're having. That's why it's very effective, again, to say, instead of saying, I'm angry, like my essence is angry, I want to say something along the lines of like, I'm feeling anger. I'm experiencing anger right now. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, like, what's that? What's causing that? Or, well, what's that like for you? And as I talk about it more, I'm distancing myself, my true essential self, from the experience I'm having. Does that make sense? So number 1 is name it. The next thing to do is counter it. So a lot of times when we're experiencing imposter syndrome, it's because we're not actually looking, in a lot of reasons, because we don't want to look, we're not used to looking, a lot of other things probably that led to us being like this, right? At the things we've actually accomplished. One of the things that crushes a lot of coaches is they're like, oh my God, I'm a brand new coach. I'm just starting my coaching business. It's like, yeah, okay, well, what are you coaching on? It's like self-esteem. It's like, well, how long have you been working on your self-esteem? Oh, I mean, for lifetime. Like I've been doing it for 25 years. Or I have one client, she came and she was like, oh, I'm just starting as a relationships coach. I'm like, cool, cool. She's like, yeah, I don't really feel like I have a lot of experience, so I can't really charge much or anything at all because I'm just getting started. And I'm like, wait, what are you helping people with? She was like, marriage. I'm like, cool. How long have you been working on your marriage? She's like, oh, I've been married for 25 years and I've worked really a lot on it. I was like, sweet. So what you're saying is you've got 2 decades of experience as at being married and like helping people with the things you do. She's like, oh my God, I never thought about it that way. So what's interesting is a lot of times we downplay the things we've actually done for a variety of reasons. And that's why we do that. Is might be outside of the scope of our discussion today. But the way that you move around this particular thing is learn to counter it. So I encourage anyone I talk to about imposter syndrome, write down 10 to 20 things that you're really proud of that you've accomplished personally over the last 20 years. Now it's interesting because if you move to this idea of like, instead of like looking for why I suck, look for reasons why I don't suck. Look at the things I've accomplished. And again, you're comparing it against the 20-year-old version of you or a 20 ago version of you. Maybe you didn't have the confidence you did. Maybe you hadn't gotten married, had kids, built a family, built a business, gotten promoted, made money, worked on yourself, fallen down a bunch, learned a bunch. It's so funny. Like once you start to see all the things that you've actually accomplished over a period of time, even over a year, but all the more so 20 years, you're like, oh man, I actually have done something. So name it, name the imposter syndrome, counter it by creating examples of things that you actually have achieved. Number 3 is you want to the next N is normalize it. Recognize that most everybody who's stepping out of their comfort zone, i.e. to do the thing that they want to do, start to feel imposter syndrome. They don't feel ready yet. They don't feel confident. They don't feel capable yet. And that's actually not a bad thing, right? Actually, that shows that you're stepping out of your comfort zone and it's normal. We all feel that way. See, the hardest thing when it comes to any of these things is we feel like we're all alone. We feel like we're the only ones. Everyone else is confident and I'm the only one that like feels like I'm out of place. I actually worked with a gentleman when I was as an executive coach and it was awesome. He's been an entrepreneur and a very successful entrepreneur for decades. And we started working together when he was about to raise it was significant money for his third fund, and he was saying something. It was so interesting. I was speaking to him a little about like his insecurities, and he's like, yeah, like I get in these rooms and all these guys are wearing suits and I'm still that guy like in my mind, like the college student that, just kind of started a little business. And I'm like, that's exactly the challenge, which is that you've put yourself, again, even though you've been doing this for many, many years and you've probably made more money than the guys in the suits, right? And it's just their company that has a lot of money. These guys are just kind of like allocating the funds in a lot of cases. He said, like, you still in your mind, you have this identity as the college kids and you're talking to scary men in the suits, right? It's like, in reality, it's like, this is a normal thing that everyone goes through. Even, presidents and actors will be in that room of all of the world leaders. And you're like, I'm here. How do I belong here? But the reality is everyone's feeling that. So if you normalize that, and that's why it's super important to have a community, you're able to be like, wow, this is totally normal. And if it feels normal, then it brings down a lot of that anxiety and those feelings you have. And finally, the final C is create an alternative. What do I want to feel? When I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, what do I want to feel? Do I want to feel scared or do I want to feel excited? Do I want to feel nervous? Do I want to feel prepared? Right? Do I want to feel confident? And the crazy thing is your mind, this is a rule about driving, right? When they're teaching race car drivers or shooting or anything, wherever you go, the ball goes wherever you're looking. The car goes wherever you're looking. There's an idea, don't look at the wall when you're like turning fast in a race car because you'll go right into the wall. You want to look on the other side of the turn because your body will naturally direct you there. So if you're saying, I'm excited to have this conversation, I'm looking forward to this new opportunity, you're actually going to create an alternative outcome. So again, name imposter syndrome, create an alternative counter, like all of the feelings of I'm not ready with things like examples that you are ready, right? The next step would be normalize this experience as a sign that you're growing. And then finally create the alternative reality. Okay. That's the first piece. So hopefully that should solve it. If for whatever reason it doesn't solve it and you're like, no, I still am feeling it and it's still really hard, right? I want to discuss the idea of something called secondary gains and complex equivalence. These are NLP terms, neuro-linguistic programming terms. I'm going to go super fast, but there's a lot more you can go in depth with this. When it comes to secondary gains, usually the reason why we keep doing things that aren't good, that we want to change, but like we don't really know how to change it, it's because the thing that we're doing is actually serving us. Like if someone feels really bad about doing something, let's say smoking or eating unhealthy food, and it's like, do you want to do that? And they're like, no. But it's like, okay, you're still doing it. Like, why? It's because the thing they're doing actually is serving them in some way. Smoking It lets you calm down, go slow, breathe, have something to look forward to. It feels good in your body, right? Eating, it like calms you down. The food tastes delicious. It's something that you might have been embedded with as a child, right? That like it's the thing to do when you feel stressed out, or the thing you do when you get around people you love, right? So the concept is the gain, it actually does calm you down. So if you can figure out how this thing that you're doing is actually serving you, then you can start to let go of that effect that it has in a lot of cases, and you can find something else. Do I need to be eating fattening foods when I get together with family, or could I create an alternative? Do I have to eat that much food? Again, for me, if I'm going to eat it, I'll eat the whole thing and everything else lots of times, right? So that's the concept of, noticing what's the secondary gain. What is the benefit of me telling myself I'm not prepared? Maybe it's keeping me safe. Maybe it's keeping me feeling like the loser I've always been telling myself. So it's familiar, right? Well, what is that thing I'm getting? And then ask yourself, do I want that? Or is that the only way I can get it? That leads me to the next thing called complex equivalence. Complex equivalence essentially is a concept that I set two things up. So for example, this literally just happened this week. I talked to a wonderful client of mine, and she said, the biggest challenge I have is I take too long in my process of enrolling clients. I said, interesting. Why do you do that? She said, well, because I'm really nice and I don't ever want to actually ask if people want to work with me. I said, interesting. So what you just said, right, is that you take too long. And sometimes people hire someone else in the time that it took you to actually ask for the business. But the reason why you do that is you're nice. She's like, yeah. I said, whoa. So you're saying nice people don't ask for business. She's like, oh my God. I was like, yeah. So either you tell yourself, I don't want to be nice, and she's very nice and she wants to stay nice, and if I'm nice, I can't ask for business quickly. She's like, yeah. I'm like, what if you decouple those? I'm going to be nice and I'm going to ask for business quickly because then I can help people faster, or people can get help at a quicker pace. She's like, never thought about that. So complex equivalence, you link two things that are not actually linked. Decouple them, right? So the fact that I don't feel confident enough means that I'm a good person, means that I'm a humble person. Well, if you want to feel more confident and you want to stay humble, you got to detach those things, right? I will feel humble as I work with better and better people because I can help more people, whatever you want to structure it. That's the second tier. So we have the NC framework. If that doesn't work, secondary gain, complex equivalence. And here's the third thing, and this is pretty quick, right? We call it the idea of reframing. Reframing the imposter syndrome, and this is a little bit similar to what we talked about in terms of normalization in the first thing. Notice that when I am feeling a certain way, I'm actually being successful. So we used to say like, oh my gosh, I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling, that imposter syndrome. That's a reason not to do it. No, that's a reason to do it because it shows that's the thing that you're supposed to do. We have this concept, I got this from the great Chris Voss, who says that yes lives in the land of no, right? So if you're not risking getting a no, you're never going to get a yes. If everything you say, everyone says yes to, okay, you're lowering again, like you're not doing anything of real like value. If you really want to grow, you have to create opportunities that people can say no to. You have to be courageous. You have to push yourself a little bit, right? So if I'm feeling like I'm pushing myself and I'm feeling that imposter syndrome, it's like, great. That's a sign that you're doing exactly what you want. Finally, last thing, those are like the three mental frameworks. Practically speaking, you got to take action and you got to create a community. And if you take action and create community, that's going to be the fastest way to actually move past. And again, you will feel more imposter syndrome because you hopefully are doing better and better stuff. But this is the number one way I've seen to cure imposter syndrome. If we can help with anything else, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much for your time, and I really hope this is helpful.